Well, I'm just going to start then. I'm going to start because we can make our own joyful noise. Can I actually hear you all make a joyful noise? That is right. Good morning, UU Detroit and Northwest UU. We have gathered here today to decolonize and bring our voices for Landback and decolonization. Can I hear you make another joyful noise for that? Amen, amen, amen. It is important that you showed up this morning. Gathering together in community is an act of rebellion against isolation and hopelessness. And what do we say? Oh, I know you can do better than that.
We are rebels.
We sure are. We're going to sing about all the joy and gratitude that we have in having hope. And we're going to sing to each other. So many of our songs, we're just singing forward. We're going to sing to each other today. It's going to be a conversation. We're going to sing the song We Give Thanks, which is in your teal hymnal, and it is number 1010. And I am going to sing the first, we're going to sing it in a conversation. So I'm going to sing, and this side is going to sing with me, and then Maddie is going to lead this side in an echo, right? So let's try it together. We can do it twice if we need more practice. There's always more thanks to give.
Unitarian Universalism is a faith that is spiritually alive, values-centered, and radically inclusive. We begin each service by kindling a flaming chalice. Those who came before us lit this flame as a beacon of welcome to those in need, of a place of sanctuary and belonging. We strive to continue that legacy here today. We kindle this flame with words from Reverend Michelle Collins. We remember ancestors of blood and choice, known and unknown, who endured hardships we can barely imagine, so we might inherit possibilities they could only dream. Their struggles live in our bodies, their dreams in our daily choices, their unfinished work in our hands. May we honor their sacrifices, not through nostalgia, but through action, not through guilt, but through gratitude that moves our feet toward justice.
Hey folks, we got some people standing in the back. If you have a spot next to you, can you raise your hand and welcome them?
You can find ways our community works for love and justice on the back of your order of service. A few highlights are the Te Chihila Collective has won 9 parcels of land from the Detroit Landback, and have invited us to take part in a ceremony and potluck to bless the land today at 2 p.m. Also, the NWUU board meeting has been moved to next Thursday, November 20th. This Thursday? Okay, it's this Thursday. Yeah, that is November 20th at 7:30, and it will be online only. Pastor Eli will be leading a Trans Day of Remembrance, ritual and dinner on November 20th at 6 p.m. here at NWUU. We've been invited to participate in an interfaith Thanksgiving service on Monday, November 24th at 7 p.m. That's at St. David's Episcopal Church in Southfield. And Farmington UU will be hosting their annual Thanksgiving dinner at 4 p.m. at UUCF, UU Farmington, and all are welcome for that. I didn't see the date on that, 4 p.m. It's on Thanksgiving, that makes sense. Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving, 4 p.m. I heard there was something here last night. Does anyone know what was going on? Some kind of an auction. Who knows how that went? Yeah. You want to tell us?
Go to the microphone, Ariana.
Sorry. It went well, and there's still stuff online by 9 o'clock tonight you can sign up for, like a jack-o'-lantern carving party, a cookie decorating party that Lensha from the choir is doing. And we raised around $23,000. And I was so impressed by everyone who helped. Thank you, thank you.
Jameson, that is really good stuff to know. But the most important thing to know is that no matter what you believe or who you love, no, sorry.
No matter who you are.
I know, but you got it ready for your lines, not mine, man.
Skipped over your line.
I know, okay.
There it is.
Is that no matter who you are,
What you believe or who you love,
where you're from, or what identities you hold,
with all of your joy and gifts,
with all of your pain and history,
you are all welcome and wanted here.
Come, let us worship together. I now invite you into a moment of centering to fully arrive in this sacred space with the power of music. If those in the back want to keep encouraging people as they come in to find seats next to people that have seats.
going to have a story this morning called The Circle of Caring and Sharing. So if you want to look up at your screen there, the pictures will be there. And this is by Teresa Larson Jansen. There once lived two foxes who were best friends, and they lived on the plains where the sky never ends. One day, these two foxes had a terrible fight, and they were no longer friends when they went home that night. The two foxes refused to talk the next day, which made their friends sad and not want to play. An older buffalo knew just what to do. She went to Kokum, the owl, who said, "Hoo, hoo, hoo. We should hold a sharing circle today so that we can hear what our friends have to say." So they gathered the animals from all around to come sit in a circle on the ground. This circle is sacred. This circle is for sharing and connects the community in ways that it's caring. We're gathered today because of a fight to bring all our feelings out into the light. The animals took turns passing the stick to speak. Some gave a loud roar and others a squeak. The foxes listened to each other explain why their feelings were hurt and causing them pain. Now that foxes understand what went wrong, they could go back to getting along. The animals thanked Kokum for bringing them together. They knew they would be friends forever and ever. And that is our story. What did you guys think? What kind of circle was that? A sharing circle. That's what Maple said. And I just had another question for you. Have you ever participated in a sharing circle before? Raise your hand. Yeah. Does it help the community get along better? Yeah. So this is, yes, Emma, do you want to say something?
Instead of a stick, though, we usually use a giant spoon.
Giant spoon. Do you do it in your family sometimes? Uh-huh. Yeah, that's wonderful. So now we're going to go to our education groups. And Brooklyn's comfortable. She's going to sleep here. Does anybody want to carry the flame today? Oh, lots of me's. Okay. Maple, do you want to carry the flame? Yeah? So we can rise if we are able in spirit and sing the children out.
Each month, we share our plate with a community partner. This month, it is the Te Chihila Collective. the Te Chihila Collective is an Indigenous-led collective that supports communities in need through mutual aid. In their words, as we work to support our relatives' needs, we are also dedicated to Landback, decolonization, abolition, and collective liberation as antidotes to the social violence that forces our relatives into needing support. Together, our generosity multiplies. All undesignated donations will be split between Te Chihila Collective and our congregation. A link to give virtually is posted in the Zoom chat. No matter what you contribute to the church, be it funds or time or simply the generous presence of your spirit, know that we are so grateful for your gifts. Let's step into gratitude together. Please read aloud the words of dedication which are written in your order of service. To the work of creating beloved community within and beyond these walls, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
Dear ones, every week we speak about the Anishinaabeg in their many names, their forced removal, and the genocide of their people, but it would mean nothing. It would mean nothing if we were not also seeking to build relationships and repair those relationships. So we are very honored today to hear the words of Jaike Spotted Wolf, who is on the forefront of doing that work. She is of the Techihila Collective, which we've been talking about all month, and I'd like you to give her a warm welcome to our pulpit.
Wopila, Inamaya, thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you for having me back. Sometimes I get asked back, and that always surprises me, because I'm like, well, my message is not a soft one. So, Owamni, Washte, Okangu, Winyan, that's me introducing myself in my language. My name translates to Walks the Good Road Woman in Lakota. I am from Fort Peck territory out in northeastern Montana. Our tribal home is North Dakota and Montana, Assiniboine, Sioux, Lakota, and Hidaza. And we live here in Wawiatanong, me and my boys, my nephews, that are also from Fort Peck. Looking good up there in the front row, boys. We got a wave from Nathan and a very shy grin from Clay. That's a good sign. So thank you again for having me back and for starting out this service in such a decolonized way. I was surprised. You don't often spend time in church spaces where children have a voice, so I appreciated that, that children were allowed to give their feedback. And it wasn't just about joy, it was also about sorrow, because I feel that's a theme too that can exist in some religious spaces, that there's not always room for the reality of what the world is, right? And I think it's a more balanced, mentally healthy way to go about the world, to acknowledge both. And that we sang a song to the ancestors, that I was like, what is going on here? What are we doing here in Detroit, in Michigan 25? I was very impressed that whoever is curating their service understands that ancestry is important, and that we honor our ancestors. And I spoke yesterday, and I spoke on that a little bit, that not one of us would be here if it weren't for an ancestor that got us here. That is the one common truth. Each and every, and we all bleed red, and we all have to eat food. Those are I always think of the common themes that each human being has to do or have, and then that can bring us back to connection so that we can stop the war, stop the violence, stop the balances of, or the imbalances of power. And that would be one of them, is that we all have ancestors that we owe our life to, in a way. Now I'll get into the talk, decolonization and Landback talk. Landback is the stickiest conversation or talk that I come up against when it comes to, people bristling and really struggling with a concept around Native sovereignty, Indigenous liberation. And, they can swallow environmental concerns, they can swallow MMIW, they can, swallow the genocide and work through that in their brain. But when it comes to Landback, that's a very different conversation for people to have to reconcile, because it involves the current day. It involves not just the history of what's happened to the Native Americans on this land and Palestine, right? This is not just a true to Turtle Island. This is Amazonians busting into COP25 this year and shutting that down because their land is being encroached on. Our land was encroached on, so that a race of people predominantly, right, could come here and grow and thrive and get to have their families and their legacies, while another race of people were left to die and to systematically be eliminated over the course of time. It's controversial because it involves actual property. And at the end of the day, that's why we're in this mess, right? Is that somewhere along the way, European settlers and their descendants, we understand the picture over there. There was years of war and thousands of whatever. Over time, people were moved off their own spaces, right? So they're seeking and they're searching, and there's just a lot of refugeeism from that territory over there across the water. And they were all seeking a place to have as their own. But where it went wrong was that came at the cost of blood and violence and death and genocide, right? It came at that cost of other people being removed, their traditions being defamed, their culture being told that they couldn't practice, and being reviled, right? In order to justify in their minds manifest destiny. Manifest destiny, I don't know how many of you have heard that term, but that is the papal decree that happened in the 1400s. Two popes were like, oh my God, our God just told us we are to go out into the world and take everything. Everything. Why? I don't know what mushrooms or drugs they were on, that was the message they received and what God they were talking to. But it is not the God I know. It is not the creator I know. It is not the spirit that I know. It is not. That is insanity, right? That's meant, and it came at the cost of them also having to, probably, over time, have to exchange their values, have to exchange their sense of morality in order to gain that land. And when you do that over and over, and that's a family heritage that you pass down to your sons and your daughters, that is how you end up in the place that we are in 2025. So the controversy of, well, we won't have land if we give it back to the natives here. Well, we don't have land either. It was taken from us, and I want to paint that picture of imagining what it would be like for people to bust into your home, literally, take your children from you, remove them to spaces hundreds of miles away, and then over the course of time, break treaties to come and take everything you have. Everything you have, the land that you live on, the water, everything that you had access to, the food, your hunting grounds, wherever your mounds were, where you would go and bury your ancestors and go to pray to them and pray them to safety amongst the stars. That somebody came in and took all of that from you. And there was no conversation about it, there was no negotiation, aside from the fact that you are wrong and evil for being on this land. It is mine, I'm coming in to take it now. Now flip that, and if that were you in that seat, in that experience, right? Having somebody bust into your home, come and take everything, and then hundreds of years later, your family is left devastated from years and years and years of having to survive in conditions where you don't have access to your traditions. You've lost your culture. Think of all the all the family Christmases you guys have spent with your family members, right? The Thanksgiving dinners, the celebrations for graduations in your home, right? That you have built with your family members, and then having all of that ripped away from you because you're wrong or bad, right? Because you're heathenistic just for practicing that. And somebody is telling you that now, that you are wrong for who you are. You don't get to have that space anymore, that legacy that you've built with your family, right? So that's the discussion. Now, we're not asking for people to sign over the deeds to their homes and, well, we are. I won't turn it down. If you if you got a second home, a vacation home, look, I got a for sale sign outside of my apartment right now. Like, that thing could be sold at any point. We have been used to houselessness, my family, that is our legacy, because Landback doesn't exist for us. But that's not what entirely we're saying. We would take the land, we would take that land, but Landback actually means, according to, most people I speak with in Native circles and other communities where these discussions are being had, it's that you let us steward the land. Let us have legislation, legislative power over it. Let us make decisions about what happens to the land. Because where it went wrong in history is that land ownership, having a deed, having a title, became more important than your relationships, than community, than protecting the water, than protecting the land, the air, the plants, the trees, the animals, all that encompassed that land. All of that became forgotten. So then there's now this huge disconnect in colonial settlerism that hundreds of years later, we don't have a connection to the land, and now we are in climate devastation, right? We are lucky here in Michigan because this would be a space of climate refugees. This is where you can come to get access to fresh water. But if we already live here, everybody else is going to try to come here. So you do have to be thinking about this in a very proactive way, in as much as you don't think it could happen to you, or you've already got your space, and why would I have to be bothered with this discussion and this radical woman sitting up at the front on this microphone, is because it will impact everyone, right? If people start to come here for their own family's safety, you're gonna experience what Landback or what colonialism is going to do to you, right? You all, settler descendants and ancestors hundreds of years ago might have participated in that, and we thought we were out of the violence part of it, but we're gonna go right back full circle, because that's how energy works. That's how the earth balances itself out. So it's best to get ahead of it while you can. Giving Indigenous peoples decision-making power over how to steward land corrects the problem, right? We curated it, we stewarded it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years before colonialism came, right? We did a pretty good job, because when your ancestors got here, this was fertile. You could grow anything here. You had plenty of room to come in and take what you needed to survive. The land provides and provided everything you needed. And you gotta really think about that. Break it down to the point. When you're at home making a meal, the water that comes out of your tap, the food that you're cooking and preparing, the animal that was butchered, the vegetables that you're about to put in that dish, the glass of wine maybe that you're gonna have with dinner, all of that came from the land. The land provides, it just wants to be taken care of. So does the air, so does the earth, right? That was the creed that Mother Nature set out for us in creation. So it's a matter of, we don't want to take anything from you that you're not willing to give. We do, however, want to make sure that everybody is gonna survive. That is our priority, because that's how this whole thing started, is that we began partnerships with pilgrims. We had to eventually, embrace the fact that these guys were gonna die, right? Over on the northeast coast of Atlantic winter, they were gonna perish. And that, it was not in the values system of the natives that lived in that area. They did not want to see people perish. And because they helped them, pilgrims were able to survive, and then more were able to come and then do all of this damage. So the slap in the face, right? Of like, oh my God, we helped you guys live, and then you killed us. What? That's big. Not that we're trying to get into the guilt or the shame factor of that. I say all of these things to paint the picture of what this is all about. And just to give you some nuggets to take home and to kind of chew on, so that you can conceptualize what the bigger picture is of all of this. In taking care of people, that was our way of making sure we honored Mother Earth, right? We just want to continue on doing that, making sure that the land is cared for, the land is loved, that the land isn't devastated the way, we shouldn't have brownfields, right? We shouldn't, who gutted the Clean Water Act? They did not see those videos of the Cuyahoga River in Ohio in the 60s and the 70s on fire. That happened here, folks, and I don't know that there's anywhere in the world that has had similar situations to what America is experiencing in terms of industrial pollution, right? And how far we let it go, and how many laws have been broken over the course of time, how BASF out in Wyandotte and downriver has been out of compliance with the EPA since 1985, and they continue to get to dump. They get fines, they pay their fines. Eagle is on board with it, right? That's a local government agency that's supposed to watch over and contain BASF. They don't care, because BASF has them in their pocket, and BASF isn't the only one. There are over 200 new rivers and lakes that have been put on the do not eat the fish list here in Michigan in this last year. I was so upset when I saw that, because it felt like the one thing you can get right as a human being is making sure that your water is clean. That's the one fundamental thing we gotta have. We all know it. I don't got a PhD, but I do know that my water has to be clean. And to hear that we had 200 more lakes outside of the ones that were already on that list, stating that you should not eat that fish out of, when it comes down to it, these measures are not profound, right? But they are when you've lost connection to the land, when you've lost connection to Mother Earth, and when you've been removed from your understandings traditionally, right? Because each one of you in this room is indigenous to somewhere. Your heritage comes from a place where you did steward the land thousands of years ago. You did take care of it. You had a connection with the sky and the grasses and the turtles, right? And every little peeping thing that wakes you up in the morning and disturbs you. In my house, what is that bird? I love it, but all that to say, you had a connection. Go back to those roots. Really think about what Landback means for your own heritage, right? Think about what it would be like to be removed from your own spaces today. Think about how that would damage your families, right? Then think about who gave you the land that you're on. We didn't give it. It was forced removal. But thinking, right? Reciprocating back to the peoples whose land you're on, because you got to have a quality of life. You got to have a legacy of families. Our life expectancy is 52. I've got a big job ahead of me to make sure these children make it, beyond that age, into elderhood, right? I've got a big job ahead of me that they get a quality of life like I see white settler descendants get to access, right? I've got a big job to also make sure I can continue to decolonize them in white spaces, predominantly white urban spaces wherever we travel, right? This is a hard job. But I just ask you and implore you to think about that connection, and to the people who are dying literally and continue to die currently today due to manifest destiny, the fact that there was a whole race of people that needed to have that land. And what can you do now to reciprocate and try to help that situation? If you're thankful for the life you have and the life you've had here on the grounds of Turtle Island since your settler ancestry came here, do what you can to start to pay that forward, because we are indeed perishing. So, not to end it on a sad note, I am grateful for the shout outs to the collective. Today is a huge, huge celebration for Landback that we did. We had a 3-year battle with the land bank, and didn't think we were gonna get the land at all. I'm not crying, I don't think my cat, but, and also maybe I'm crying a little bit. A 3-year fight, and with the help of Gabriela Romero Santiago's office and Patricia Jackson specifically, we wrangled 9 lots from them. And we established a discount for Native Americans in the city of Detroit, which is look, I've been in activist spaces and organizing since I was 16. And, 12 if you count the time that I adopted a whale after I saw Free Willy, and at the end, I still think about that whale. Is it safe out there? I do hope so. $12 a month, all my babysitting money. But I've been in these spaces a long time with a lot of losses, and this was a win. I'm 47, so if I've been fighting since I was a young person, this was the first real win I've had. So it's not lost on me the gratitude and the thanks I can give to communities that help supported us through that, and that will help continue to support us. We're gonna need a lot of support to try to buy up more land in that section of town to make a native hub. And I hate that it comes at the cost of money, and it does. And I wish we could just barter and trade our way through getting all of that land over there. But it's a huge win, and I thank you for sharing about it and talking into the congregation about it all month, because this doesn't usually happen. We don't have a church Native Americans in the city of Detroit. A church to us is a sweat lodge. We don't have a sweat lodge that we can go to every week where we can sit with each other, pray to the ancestors, get it out of our system, right? And get right with our community and with ourselves. That's what this land is for. It's a space for a sweat lodge. It's a space for a ceremonial fire so that when our relatives walk on, when they die, we have a place to pray them back to the stars, back to our other relatives. We don't have that in Detroit. There's not one, but there's synagogues, there's churches, there's mosques, right? So that just paints a picture again of like how vital this win was to the Native American community. We don't have a culture house where we can bring elders and teens together and try to help, that suicide rate is super high in our communities, right? We're trying to keep each other alive, and that's what this land afforded us, was our survival. So thank you for any support you give to the collective, and thank you individually if you've given me support, if I've carried on a relationship with you for the past year, because there are a couple faces in here. Lorelei, I'll shout her out, because she just has, and her efforts in her group that she runs, Little Field Action, have supported us. So thank you, and continue to do that research about the accurate Native history. I have a feeling maybe we'll get some of that Medicaid back, because those Epstein files are saucy. If they want to keep their jobs, they're gonna have to do something right. So I'll end on that note. All right.
Congregants, if you know the song, you're welcome to sing along.
You know, I used to think that justice was about fighting, but now I think it's about healing more than fighting. Because we can push all we want, but unless we're listening to our bodies and to the earth and to each other, we're gonna miss the lessons and the profound beauty that keeps us going and makes us able to make the hard choices. I used to think that justice was about tamping down what happened in the past, about fighting it. Do you know that Unitarian Universalists operated, well, not Unitarian Universalists, Unitarians operated a native school in the 19th century? That's our legacy. And I used to think justice was about tamping that down, and now I think justice is about letting the lessons of our past transform who we are today. Because shame, if we just feel shame, we're gonna push it away. We have to process our guilt. We have to process our emotions. We have to come face to face with what we've done, because we can't exist fully in our humanity unless we live with our past and let it transform who we are now. I used to think that justice was for them. I used to think that justice was for them, the marginalized, those who needed me and my privilege and power to stand up for them. And yeah, that's in there. But the more I sit with my visions of how I want to be in this world and how I want the world to show up for every single person and for the earth itself and all the creatures on it, the more I sit with that, the more I realize that justice is for all of us. I'm indigenous to somewhere too, and I don't know how to go back there. I don't know what my relationship with the land is. White settler colonialism, capitalism, patriarchy, it has messed with all of us. It has messed with all of us, our relationships to each other, our relationships to the land. We cannot begin to know who we are or how we want to be if we think we're doing it for other people. We have to listen to each other. We have to listen to the lessons that come across traditionally segregated lines. And in order to do that, we have to heal and we have to transform. Jaike is fighting. She is fighting to have her kids grow up decolonized in this world. I want my kid to grow up decolonized in this world too. I want my kid to be able to thrive on the blue-green hills of earth and face his past and his ancestors and look to the future and know that he is a being of power, and that is not a scary thing for a little white boy. I want decolonization for everyone, and that means that the land has to go back. It has to go back to something that it was before it was polluted and colonized, and we are the ones that have to make that happen. And yeah, we can sign over the deeds to our home, but also we can fight for an entire structure of a world that doesn't make it up to individual choice, but says proudly, these are our values. There's dignity in power, there can be, and we have a lot of it. Let's use it. I want my kid to grow up decolonized too. I want your kids to grow up decolonized. I want Jeff Bezos's kids to grow up decolonized. Because colonialization and white supremacy has only ever been painful. Let's face the pain. Let's heal it. Let's transform our world. Blessed be and amen.
Please join us in singing our closing hymn, number 1068, Rising Green, in whatever ways you are comfortable.
moment in the service where we turn toward each other, where we acknowledge everyone who has shown up today to be here. If you feel like making a reverent gesture or putting your hand on your hearts, do so. If you feel like reaching out and touching one another and the person next to you wants that touch, do so. This is a moment where we see each other and we sing.
Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community,
The warmth of community,
or the fire of commitment.
or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are
Carry in our hearts
together again.
until we are together again.
So here we are. We're whole and holy and holding one another and looking at each other and making a web that mimics our interdependent web. And folks, I am so glad Jaike came back. I am so glad that she continues to speak. Yeah, we can. But you know what it means? It means we can't just listen to her talk, right? It means we can't just listen to her talk. Bob's already done something about it. I overheard it. Oh, he's waving that check. It means it's not just about money. We're giving money. And it means that when the indigenous people of this land call on us, we have to answer. Are we ready? It means when the people that need our help tell us they need our help, we can't judge the kind of help that they need or make our own determinations about what folks who we don't walk in their shoes need. Can we do that? Can we promise that? It means that we're going to have to get out of our own comfort and maybe sometimes our own feelings of safety in order to put the world back where it was, because comfort, too much comfort on any one person or people is just displaced on others. Can we do that? Okay, then Jaike, in the witness of my entire community, I want to say to you, if your folks need something, I want you to call on the Unitarian Universalists of Southeast Michigan. We are here. We'll do our best, and we have really good, I want to talk to your manager voices. Go in peace, return in love. Go get some coffee.
As always, thank you.